If there's one thing Universal Orlando does better than Disney World, it's story coasters. This hybrid of a dark ride and roller coaster gives adrenaline junkies all the immersive storytelling they love, with the physical thrills they crave. Hey everybody, it's Chris for AllEars TV and AllEars.net. Today we're talking about the most thrilling rides in Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, as decided by you. We pulled these reviews straight from AllEars.net to create this list, and we're highlighting everything you love about these thrill rides. Your pick for the fourth best coaster in Universal Orlando, with a rating of 8.70. The Incredible Hulk Coaster in Universal Islands of Adventure. General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross heads up this high-security research compound where you'll be signed up to volunteer as a test subject for a science experiment based on Dr. Bruce Banner's, aka the Hulk's, research. Once we're loaded onto the ride, we're blasted with gamma radiation that turns us into an extra strong mutant version of ourselves, capable of propelling up to 67 miles per hour and upside down into a weightless zero-gravity roll. If you've ever dreamed of having superhuman strength, this is the ride for you.
Melissa W. 1981 said, "Yes, one of the best roller coasters I've been on. A must to ride multiple times while visiting. The launch is the perfect speed and perfect inversions. I did hit my ear every time I rode, but it didn't hurt my head or neck."
Okay, I guess I have an unpopular opinion for my team, but I love the Incredible Hulk Coaster. It is like Rock and Roller Coaster kicked up a notch. The launch is amazing. There's a bunch of inversions. I think it's so much fun, and it's a great way to start your day when you get to Universal.
The uphill launch is far and away the highlight of the ride for me. After that, all of the loops do become a bit headache-inducing. So personally for me, this is not a must ride while I am in Universal.
This ride is definitely not for everyone. In fact, if breakneck speeds and inversions aren't your thing, this ride will not appeal to you.
I'm not very into intense roller coasters because I tend to get headaches on them, but I think that Hulk is really fun, so what I do is I typically save it to be the last thing so that I know I get to head to the hotel and lie down. If you tend to get headaches, Hulk might be a skip, but you can also use my method.
Be aware that this ride will require guests to pass through a metal detector, as phones, cameras, headphones, loose change, keys, or any other loose articles are not allowed and must be stored in the provided lockers before getting on the ride. Most of you who wrote and reviewed this really seem to love it. A reviewer named AllEars said, "Wow is about all I can say. Getting launched up and out of the tube is such a unique and cool experience. It's a great thrill ride that is a nice break from the video screen rides." And Fisher55 simply said, "This is my favorite ride in either park. It is one of my favorite roller coasters of all time." The pros. This ride is very thrilling. Coaster enthusiasts will definitely be impressed with this one. There are 7, count them, 7 inversions. It's a thrill to go from 0 to 40 in 2 seconds. It's more of a thrill to blast from 0 to 40 uphill in 2 seconds. The cons? This coaster is not for the faint of heart and in a totally different league than Disney coasters. This is not going to be the elegant flight you'll find in Disney World's coasters or even others in Universal. You might find yourself asking, are they allowed to do that to us? Because it's one of the best coasters anywhere, this is always one of the longest lines in Islands of Adventure. Your pick for the third best immersive roller coaster at Universal with a rating of 9.02. Revenge of the Mummy in Universal Studios, Florida. If you've ever dreamed about a ride with a storyline that involves a real mummy's evil spirit wreaking havoc on a fictitious film starring America's sweetheart Brendan Fraser, set with a fictitious roller coaster within a real roller coaster, yeah, then this is your ride. This fully enclosed coaster is based on the Mummy film franchise and features linear induction motors that launch riders from standstill to a speed of 45 miles per hour in a matter of seconds. At nearly 3 minutes long, it may not feature any inversions, but the 80-degree banked turns and 50-degree angled drop, not to mention the evil mummy spirit taking control of your ride vehicle and setting the ceiling on fire, makes this an intense thrill experience you said you loved.
MN Tat Girl said, absolutely my favorite ride at Universal. We hit this one first thing and rode a few times in a row. I love the calm before the storm part of the ride in the beginning, and the heat from the wall and scarab, wow. And then boom, you're off. I love this ride.
Okay, now this is an awesome attraction. This is my favorite Universal attraction outside of Harry Potter. It's a dark ride, it's thrilling, it's got scary animatronics, fire, Brendan Fraser. What more do you want?
Okay, yes. So I feel like the youths of today do not actually know who Brendan Fraser is or what the Mummy is, but this ride is so fun and so thrilling. And that room where they blast fire, it gets me every single time. I love it.
Listen, the ride system itself isn't all that intense, but the subject matter is. We can't really even warn you about everything that happens in this ride, as it'll be too disturbing for some viewers. But here's a quote from a voiceover that you'll hear on the ride if you choose to ride it.
Prepare to forfeit your souls. Death is only the beginning.
The Mummy is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I totally love Brendan Fraser, so the Mummy coaster is definitely a must-ride for me. I could probably ride it nonstop from the open to close of the park and be happy with my park ticket purchase.
A reviewer named Tia Travels went so far as to say, "This is my favorite ride on property. The theming is amazing, and the special effects add so much to the queue and ride." And J Drum 3 added, "This was a sleeper hit for our first Universal trip. We were most concerned with Harry Potter and Hulk, and I had never seen the Mummy movies. However, the queue, the pre-show, the actual ride combined for a great cocktail of what makes a ride a classic. This is a must-ride for our family now every time we go to Universal, and personally, my favorite." The pros. This ride is packed with lots of really well-executed effects. I mean, for real. The ceiling literally catches on fire on an indoor roller coaster. This is a dark ride coaster hybrid that takes the concept of both forms of attraction to new levels. The movie it's based on isn't the newest, but it still tells the story in a thrilling way that feels fresh. The cons. This is a ride about very dark subject matter. It won't be as physically intense as the Hulk, but it might not be the kind of story you want to expose your kids to. Even one of my older kids decided to peace out as the queue got more ominous. Younger generations may not be familiar with the Mummy franchise, so the storyline with Brendan Fraser being haunted by the spirit of the real Mummy while on the set of the film sequel might be confusing to a lot of people. The queue is beautifully themed and interactive, which is good because you may be standing in it for a long time. The second best coaster experience in Universal Orlando, with a rating of 9.07, is Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts in Universal Studios, Florida. Similar to Revenge of the Mummy, this is another indoor steel coaster with dark ride effects, utilizing detailed sets and physical effects, but with the addition of 3D projection screens like the ones you'll find on Transformers, The Ride, and The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, also at Universal Orlando Resort. The combination of animation and live-action 3D sequences, along with the thrilling coaster track, creates an immersive experience unlike any other. Themed after the Gringotts Wizarding Bank, this story coaster has been amazing guests since 2014.
Appingmar said, "It's fast, it's fun, it's a must-ride for any Harry Potter fan. My parents hadn't seen Harry Potter and still enjoyed it."
This is one of the few theme park rides that I've ever waited 2 hours for, and it was worth it. It was totally worth it. I was a little afraid to go on this after my experience with Forbidden Journey because that ride makes me quite queasy, but for this one, the emotion of the coaster and kind of getting a break from the screens made it so that was never an issue.
I do like Gringotts, but big warning, the glasses are the worst with a face mask. I hold my mask down like right under my eyes when I ride this, and that seems to fix it, but I've never had any 3D glasses fog as much as the ones on Gringotts.
Pro tip, bring the mask up high on your nose, and if you really want to seal it, you can place a Band-Aid right here on the bridge of your nose, then wear the glasses a little bit lower, and you should be fog-free.
Something that came up in your reviews was that the ride vehicle doesn't accommodate guests of all shapes and sizes. An AllEars staff member had an experience with someone in their travel party where the test seat out front accommodated them fine, but the opening to board the seat on the actual ride vehicle was too narrow, and that wasn't reflected at all in the test seat out front. In cases where someone is turned away because the ride vehicle wasn't able to accommodate them, both Disney and Universal are good about giving expedited entry passes to the entire travel party. But this is an important scenario to prepare for emotionally. A reviewer named Caitlin W. shared her frustration with us, saying, "I like Harry Potter and was excited to experience this ride. The trouble started once we got to the seats. Why is Universal so bad at creating ride vehicles that accommodate people of all sizes? I had a hard time fitting in the seats, which was very disappointing. We had just done all 3 Disney parks and had no issues, but as soon as we got here, I had difficulty on 3 different rides. They were able to get the seats to close, but it was very uncomfortable and I nearly cried. Yeah, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you should ride, but not fitting in a ride vehicle will break you emotionally."
The queue is the best part of this attraction. It's so awesome to step foot into Gringotts and see the goblins. My nerd self also really enjoys all the details throughout the attraction, like moving family photos of the Weasleys and the newspapers. Harry Potter fans, a must-do.
And the ride itself made this best list for good reason. Most of you love it. KWeber24 said, "This is a phenomenal ride, and anyone that loves Harry Potter will love it. Between the indoor dark roller coaster and the 3D simulation, you truly feel like you were under the bank." The pros. This is a perfect example of Universal's ability to blend 2 different kinds of rides. It's hard to comprehend what is happening while you're on this ride. It feels like a roller coaster, but looks like you're inside a movie. If you're a Harry Potter fan and don't mind the coaster elements and 3D, you'll want to make this a priority. The cons. When all the elements come together, this level of immersion might be too much for some riders. If 3D already makes you motion sick, the addition of the coaster track may really set you back. We hear this more and more about Universal, and specifically the Harry Potter rides, being unable to accommodate a lot of our viewers. For your convenience and peace of mind, test seats are located out in front of the ride. This episode is all about some of the most popular rides in Universal Orlando, and we don't want to sound like a broken record, but we want you to prepare for the long wait times. And your number 1 best immersive coaster experience at Universal Orlando with a rating of 9.89. Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, TM, in Universal Islands of Adventure. This multiple launch steel motorbike roller coaster modeled after Hagrid's motorcycle is located at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at the Hogsmeade section of Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure, and it is the 6th and newest Harry Potter themed attraction created for the resort. At $300 million, it is the most expensive roller coaster ever built and features a record-breaking 7 launches, taking on a kind of start and stop journey through the Forbidden Forest, coming face to face with the magical creatures of the Wizarding World, including Fluffy the 3-headed dog, Cornish pixies, Devil's Snare, a centaur, and a creature that never made it into the movies, the blast-ended Scroot.
EB1998 said, "Hagrid's is definitely worth the hype, and it is worth the long wait times it usually has. We almost left the queue the first time we rode it because the ride stalled, not uncommon. It is a long, no-screen roller coaster with awesome theming elements. It is unlike any other rides in the Orlando area. It goes backwards and even drops through the floor at one point. Definitely recommend, even if the wait times are long."
I didn't think that any Harry Potter ride could possibly beat Gringotts, and then I went on Hagrid's. This is super thrilling, and I could talk for a while about that drop.
The backward section of the track and the sudden drop definitely keep you on your toes, and there are indoor, outdoor, and semi-enclosed sets that are as close to Disney perfection as you will get in Orlando's Universal Parks. But the ride system itself consistently tops the list of Orlando coasters for both our AllEars staff and our viewers. Jeannie Mac 59 said, "Absolutely fantastic ride. Don't let the long queue put you off. Just do it. You will not regret it." And Georgia Disney Lover 89 added, "Definitely worth the wait. We made time and rode it multiple times, and it never gets old."
Pro tip, Universal's virtual line allows you to reserve a spot in an expedited line for this ride and several others at the resort. Your best bet is to reserve this first thing in the morning, but it does open up several times throughout the day as well. Check out Molly's videos in Universal to learn how to use virtual lines like a pro.
We will warn you that because of the complicated ride system, it's rare that you'll even get through the queue without hearing an announcement that the ride has stopped temporarily, and then it has resumed. Fear not, these stalls usually only last a few minutes, and everyone we heard from says it's worth the wait.
Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure TM is not only my favorite ride at Universal Orlando, it is probably my favorite ride I've ever been on in my entire life. It is so much fun. There are so many cool Harry Potter creatures to look out for, so the Harry Potter fans are definitely gonna love it. But even if you know nothing about Harry Potter, it's an amazing coaster with several launches throughout the course, drops, backwards. It's amazing. Nobody does a story coaster as well as Universal.
The pros. It's currently the most expensive coaster in the world, though we'll see where Velocicoaster ends up. You're getting a top-of-the-line immersive experience. It simply doesn't get better than this ride. The coaster part of this ride is full of novelties that will entertain even the most jaded coaster enthusiast. The cons. Even with the virtual queue, we found ourselves waiting in line for this ride to start up again. This is perhaps the least accommodating ride vehicle for people with curves. Again, make use of the tester seat out front before getting in the long line. Speaking of long lines, if you miss out on the virtual queue, you'll find yourself waiting a very long time for this ride. Consistently, the longest wait in either park. And that does it for your list of the most thrilling rides at Universal Studios Florida. What did you think of this list? Did your favorite chill and thrill make it high on this list, or did you feel like the best thrills were overlooked by your fellow viewers? Head over to AllEars.net and leave your reviews for everything Disney and Universal Parks related. Hotels, restaurants, rides, and more. You have the power to change this list right now by leaving your own review, and who knows, your opinion may be included in a future episode. And if you like this video, go ahead and click that thumbs up. Be sure to stay tuned to AllEars TV and AllEars.net for more Disney and Universal news. Follow us on social media at AllEars.net. New to the channel? Check out our other AllEars videos right up here. And please subscribe to AllEars.net right down here. Be sure to clang that little notification bell so you immediately get notified when we post a new video. This is Chris for AllEars TV. See you next time.